Hi, this is the second video in the series that I'm calling Debt Free with a Hubby because I am on a debt-free journey. I'm at the very, very beginning stages. I want to live debt-free. I want to make better financial decisions because my husband and I have not done a great job. And when I say my husband and I mean me on behalf of my husband and I and my family because I'm always the one that's handled the finances. My husband is not I'm not going to say he's not on board with this. He just has never really had a part in the finances. And there's been a lot of times where I've asked him to be an active participant with our family finances and it doesn't work. So right now I'm at a point where I'm sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired of feeling broke. I am afraid for the future when my husband and I are retired and there's Social Security and pension coming in and that's not going to be enough for us to live on. And I'm afraid of having a mortgage and being old and not being able to afford it and have to leave my house. So the future scares me because I realize that this pattern we've gotten into is not going to sustain us into later life. And so I realize we have to make some serious changes, and I am totally committed to doing this. And I have been doing, I've been in the beginning stages for about a month now, and it's been a real eye-opener. And not necessarily a good one, but I at least know what's going on. And now I'm trying desperately to get my husband like truly on board with me. I can talk to him about money. He's very agreeable, like I said in my first video. But that's not the same as having him understand and wanting to do it too. And actually, there's been some decisions made that if he were on board would have turned out differently. And so this whole video series that I'm doing, this whole journey, is to not only document my family trying to get out of debt, but my trying to do that whole process without my husband on board. Because I know I'm not the only one that has this problem. I know that this is a problem for people who make this decision and then you go to approach your spouse with it and you're met with like resistance and maybe they don't care about the finances, maybe they don't like the idea of it. Because when you live like this, paycheck to paycheck, and you're making really poor financial decisions and you've done it for so long, that is where your comfort level is. It is uncomfortable for me to think of giving up things that I've been used to having for 10 years. But I know that that's what's necessary. And I can see the process in my head of the debt snowball, as Dave Ramsey calls it, and how that works and how you can pay off so much debt that you've been living with for years in such a short amount of time. And that is what I want. I want the money that my husband brings home to go into our bank account one day and just sit there and collect interest because it's not doing anything else, or get invested someplace great. I mean, I don't want to be paying our money away to other people. So that's my goal. Right now, the most pressing problem that I am having, the most urgent thing that needs my attention, is the fact that my husband and I live beyond our means. Sort of. And I'm going to explain the sort of to you. My husband works at a job where every 7 weeks he goes on call or standby. He's a lineman for an electric company. So he makes a base amount of money. He gets paid every 2 weeks. So he makes a base amount that he brings home every 2 weeks regardless. Usually he brings home a little bit more because he will work a half hour over or something. There'll be a little bit extra in there. But for the most part, it's just this base amount. That amount does not cover our needs, our bills, our food. It doesn't cover it all. But every 6 or 7 weeks, he goes on standby. And every standby check is significantly bigger than what he normally would bring home in a regular paycheck. That standby check is what bails us out every 6 or 7 weeks. So what we do is we live out of our means because his bring home does not cover how we live. The cell phones, the dish packages, the car that I drive that I shouldn't be driving because we can't afford it. And now we can't get out from underneath it because we owe more on it than it's worth. We've tried to trade it in. We've tried to sell it. No one will take it because it's not worth what's owed on it anymore. So kind of stuck with that ride for a while. But we live beyond our means, and then so we get to the point where not all of our bills are paid. We're to the point where we're getting shut-off notices, and things are about to be shut off. And then, thank God, My husband has a standby check come in, and we're able to bail ourselves out and pay all those bills and buy lots of groceries, and things feel kind of good right then because we're, living it up for a week or two. And that gives me a false security. False sense of security. Holy dyslexic, sorry. That was funny. Anyway, that gives me a false sense of security because it gives me the impression that we can afford to live this way, but we can't really. So I want to get us down to where we're living within the means of what my husband brings home on a regular basis. And then once those standby checks come in, we can loosen that and spread that amount over the whole year. Instead of letting it bail us out in a clump, I would rather divide that amount, whatever is left over, the extra of a standby check, and have that spread across the months. So that's what my goal is. However, with my husband not being quite on board yet, and he's not convinced of this whole debt snowball, get out of debt, let's pay it down and be debt free. He's not convinced. So when I have to approach him with what channels do we get rid of on the dish package, he doesn't like that. So I have got a real problem in that we're not living within our means and that nobody wants to give up anything. And there's a ton of things that are not necessary that we are paying for, but those are the fun things. Those are the things everyone likes. So I have a problem, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to handle this. I am understanding that even though I'm frustrated, and don't get me wrong, this is frustrating and this is hard, but I do understand that just because I have made this decision all of a sudden doesn't mean that my husband all of a sudden is going to agree with it. It did take me a bit of time. I had a period of time where coming to this decision, was a process for me. I need to allow my husband to have some time also to be able to think this through like I did and come to this decision as well. I'm hoping that he does come to this decision. But I understand that this is not going to be an overnight or immediate thing. So I'm just going to continue to be persistent. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep trying to get him to understand that this is really the very, very best thing for our family. And I'm going to allow him some time, and I'm going to try to be patient while he also comes to this conclusion himself too. Because I can't force him, and I'm not going to gripe at him because that is going to have the opposite effect of what I want. And when we were discussing this the last time, I said to him, honey, please, if you trust me, just please trust me that this is going to work, and be patient, because you're not going to see the gratification instantly. This isn't an instant gratification process, but you will see it, and it will be slowly, and slowly you will see that this is awesome. So I'm really hoping that he continues to trust me, and I'm hoping that this journey that I'm on is going to help someone else, because I know I'm not alone. I know there's other people that are trying to do this alone and trying to get their spouse on board. So I'm hoping that my mess ups or my victories will also benefit someone else who's trying to do the same thing. So my immediate goal right now is to sit down, and I'm going to try to come up with a plan of what we can reduce. And then I have to present that to my husband, which I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, part of this makes me nervous because this is the kind of situation, people get divorced over money all the time. And although my marriage is really, really good, I can see that this could be an issue for us. And I don't want it to be, and the thought of it scares me. So if anybody has any kind comments, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it. But if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions, I'm always up for learning new things. So, and also another great channel, as I mentioned in my first video, is the YouTube channel Debt is Dumb, with a DUM at the end, all one word. They're great, and they've inspired me. So I thank them for my journey. So thanks for watching, and I'll probably have another video tomorrow. See you later.